Operators are of many kinds. We have unary operators, assignment operators, arithmetic, bitwise, logical, etc. We will talk about the most common ones here. Let's say we have an integer I and set it equal to 2. We have already talked about this equal sign, so it's called an assignment operator. Let's print it out and we have 2 in the console. Let's declare another integer j and set it equals to 2 as well. By the way, we can use this comma to declare as many variables we want of the same kind on the same line. So let's declare another one called answer and set it equals to I plus j and print it out. In the console we see we got 4. So it is just adding I and j and storing the value in answer and displaying it here. We can use other arithmetic operators here, like this hyphen for subtraction, this for multiplication, and this forward slash for division. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. So let's say the answer is, and inside the print statement, and close it inside double quotes, plus answer, which is referring to the variable we just declared above in the print statement. So it just makes sense now for what we're printing. So this plus sign is used for arithmetic operations as well as concatenation, but when used with strings it will also treat these integers as a string. And see, it says the answer is 2 plus 2 and we just print 22. So our 2 plus 2 in strings is 22. So to solve this issue, we either store it in a variable like we did before, or we just add a pair of parentheses around this, and Java will perform the arithmetic operations first. Next up, we have this percent operator, which just prints out the remainder of the division. For example, it is printing out 0 here because 2 is completely divisible by 2, so the remainder is 0. Let's say 3% sign 2 and we get 1 as remainder. Next we have the unary operators. So if I want to increment a number by 1, the general approach would be to declare the integer, let's say int I equals 2, and say I equals I plus 1 and print it out, or we can just say I plus plus, and this will give the same result. Similarly, I minus minus to decrement by 1. Actually, we can also use plus plus I to achieve the same result, but how is that different and even useful? That's a topic for another video. Then we have a smaller than operator, and 2 smaller than 2 returns a boolean which is false. So we can store the value in boolean as well and then display the result in the console. Because 2 is not less than 2, so it returns a false. So let's change 2 to 3 and change the operator to greater than, and it returns true now. We have less than or equal to or greater than or equal to operators as well to compare a number which is greater than or less than up to the other number. So 2 less than equals to 2 returns true. So keep in mind that if we want to compare whether a number is exactly equals to another number, we just use to equal sign, not 1. I equals j is true because 2 is equals to 2. Let's set I to 3 and it will return false because 3 is not equals to 2. But again, we use this exclamation mark and it returns true because this operator simply means not, and it's saying now 3 is not equals to 2, which is then true. Again, remember that one equal sign is an assignment operator, but to compare two values we used 2 equal signs. Finally, we have logical operators and OR operators. So 2 ampersand signs represent and 2 bar signs represent OR operator. And return true if both the conditions given are true, and OR gives true if either of the conditions is true. For example, 2 is less than 3 and 2 is equals to true returns true because true and true equals true. And 2 is greater than 3, and we use the bar operator, OR operator, and the other condition is 2 is not equals to 2 returns false because one of them is true and the other of them is false. Because 2 is greater than 2, yes, but 2 is not equal to 2 is false, but it is returning true because we know one of them needs to be true for the OR operator to return true as a whole. So you don't have to cram all the stuff inside your brains. It might look so intricate in the beginning, but as we make progress and use these operators in our programs, it will slowly start to make sense. So we talked about operators in Java and looked at various examples in this video in details. And